Lango with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan Depot and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
A pleasant good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is such a pleasure to be here with you this morning on Health Vibes. It is your appointed time with us each day, each Wednesday, just around 10:15, where we sit with you for just about 90 minutes and we'll let you know all what's happening as it relates to health and wellness. It is my pleasure again being here with you. It is a beautiful sunny day on the outside. A bit windy too for the entire. I think since last week it's been quite windy, and we're appreciating the wind because with the heat you really want to cool down, and so we're appreciating that wind that we have been getting over the past couple of days. My co-host hasn't arrived as yet, but I'm sure she will be on her way shortly. As you know, sometimes it can be a bit difficult, challenging to get a parking space. So I'm sure she's making her way to the studio anytime from now. This morning, we do have a very interesting show. We do not have a guest. Is actually your day where you can call and ask any question as it relates to health and wellness. And we oftentimes do that from time to time. We try to leave a slot that is open whereby you can call because sometimes you may have a question and it's not related to the topic that is at hand at that moment, and you want to chat about it, and we may tell you, well, today we're not discussing this and so forth. So today you have the opportunity to call us and ask any question as it relates to general health and wellness, and we will basically chit chat with you along the course of today. To all our Facebook viewers, we say good morning to you. Come on down to the Facebook page, QFM Facebook page. You can also find us um, on YouTube as well, QFM YouTube channel. You can also find us there too. And so we are saying good morning to Julie Polydor. Good morning. You always listen and you're always listening to us. Good morning to you. And to all those who will be joining us very soon, good morning to you as well. In reference to what is happening this coming Friday, Jolly's Pharmacy is having a pet day sale. And so if you love your pets, particularly your dogs, we have some amazing sale on some food items for your dog. So this coming Friday on selected pet items, you can get the pedigree chunky beef, beef, bacon, and cheese um, food that is available. You can get that particular food 20% off on it. You can get the Diamond Premium adult dog food, 6 pounds, 20% off on that. You can get the Diamond Cat Maintenance, that is cat food, 6 pounds. You can get 20% off on that. You can get Pet King Jump Cat Toy Balls, 30% off on that. The Pet King Dog Rope Bone, you can get 30% off on that. And the Nine Lives Super Supper cat food, 25% off on that. I am sure that the list that I highlighted will be placed on our Facebook page. So we this coming Friday at all our locations, we're having some massive discounts on pet foods, that is cat and dog foods, and some other items that are associated with cats and dogs. Those items will be up to 30% discount on these products. So again, the pedigree chunky beef, bacon, and cheese dog food. You can get 20% off on that. You can get the Diamond Premium adult dog food, 6 pounds. That is the weight of it. 20% discount. The Diamond Cat maintenance um, food for the cat, 20% off. Pet King cat toy ball, that's 50% off. Pet King dog rope bone. So I think it's like a treat. 50% off on this one. And the Nine Lives Super supper, cat food, 25% off on these products. And so we have these products and they will be on sale this coming Friday at all our locations. Again, we are getting along very well in terms of the preparations for the National Wellness 5K Run. That is happening on the 26th of April. The 26th of April, we are having this National 5K Run. And I can tell you, we are getting sponsorship. We are getting more and more participation. Companies are calling and they are stamping their name to the cause. They're telling us what particular cancer that they will be rallying for. This year, we are running for cancer, and that includes all cancers. So I know some companies will say they're running. I know one company said their staff have highlighted prostate cancer, and so they'll be wearing their blue for prostate cancer. Another company have said to me they'll be running for leukemia. They'll be wearing orange. And so some companies have already highlighted some of the cancers that they'll be running for, and they'll be coming along. So there are still more slots that are available. We expect more companies in Dominica to volunteer. You might say, well, you're not a very large company, but you have a supermarket or you have a shop, and even if it's $50 that you want to contribute towards cancer, we will welcome it. So if you want to walk into our offices and say, well, listen, I want to make a donation towards the run, you can do so. There are forms where we can stick your name and you can actually say which type of cancer you want to put it towards, and your name will be enlisted as a champion against cancer. And so we really want you to come on board with us this 26th of April. That is the last Saturday in the month of April. And we are having this massive 5K run. Now, even if you can't run, we still want you to be there. You can walk, you can jog, you can brisk walk, you can hold your partner in their hand or in their neck and take it step by step. And if you feel like a certain time you can't make the grade, you want to take a bus, then that is fine. And you can climax and we can meet you at Lindo Park. But we really want you to be participating this year. Come on down and be with us for the National Wellness 5K Run 2025. It is our 6th year of running, and we are so excited to bring this episode to you. Compliments Jolly's Pharmacy and all our partners this time around. My dear colleague and co-host, Miss Trudy Christian, is here. I know parking may have been a challenge this morning.
Yes, Carlton, good morning.
Your
good
spot was
morning.
gone.
Yes, I don't know why this person took my spot. Everyone knows that's where I park on a Wednesday.
Yes.
But I had to circle and circle, and I got something, and I'm here. So good
Yes.
morning. Good morning to the listeners. It is quite a busy day in Roseau.
I know. Yeah. Yes. And the traffic has been tight even from Big W.
Yes.
Yeah, because of the cruise ship in. There are 2 cruise ships today, one at Woodbridge Bay and the other one at Dame
And
Junior
one in
Charles.
Roseau,
Yes,
and one in
Boulevard.
Bayfront.
Yes. So it is bumper to bumper traffic. If you come into Roseau, just be patient with the process. Trudy, so we were talking about the 5K run. I do hope that students from your state college, some of your clubs will register
I hope so too. I feel like it's a good event, particularly for some of the sports
Yes,
groups
yes.
to try their hand at. I know that that 5K might be easy for some of our
Yes,
athletes.
I know.
Um, but I hope that and I think I've mentioned it to you, Carlton, in the past. I hope that we can do sometime a group rate
Yes,
to allow them to register as a group
yes,
and participate as a group
yes.
instead of as individuals, so
Hmm.
register under the name of the group.
Yes.
I think that would maybe give them a bit of encouragement. A lot of the young people like to represent
Yes.
their groups,
And I
their
know that you
teams.
you also have a health club now at the state
Yes,
college,
yes.
so even that too would be a good reason to
Uh-huh.
support cancer awareness and the fight against cancer. So we do hope to see some of the Dominica State College students. You might decide. I know the Republic Bank have come on board as a big sponsor, and they said that they will have about 31 staff members
Oh, nice.
on that run, and they'll be running for leukemia. They'll be running for leukemia. And the Central Cooperative Credit Union, they have called, they said they will be sponsoring and they'll be running for prostate cancer.
Okay.
So you have groups already
And choosing,
deciding.
yes,
Yes,
which cancer they
right.
are running.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
to raise awareness for. Nice.
Right. So we at Jollies, we are looking at free cancers because we've had free staff members that have succumbed to cancer. Mr. Jolly, pancreatic cancer. We had Decima Joseph, breast cancer, and then we had Hermia Joseph, ovarian cancer. So we have a few that we can, represent among ourselves. And so we're looking at that. So I suspect we are really going to look like the rainbow
Yes.
with all the different
Rainbow
colors
colors.
because each cancer has its own unique color. And we really want you to really participate and play a role as a company. As I said, even if you're a shop, you have a shop, you have a bar, and you really want to say, you know what, you never know who is going to be next to get a diagnosis of cancer. And the cost of cancer is really, really climbing. So we want you, whether it's $50, whether it's $75, whether it's $25, you can donate. Feel free to stop by at any of our locations and meet one of our staff and let them know that you want to make a donation for cancer. They will let you know the right person to speak to. There are forms available, and you can write your name and you can decide which type of cancer you want to put that money towards.
And of course, every bit of support helps. So when
Yes.
you are in the position to need support,
Yes.
you will appreciate how much every bit of support,
Mhm.
or every bit of donation, or any bit of financial assistance can really push you further.
Mhm.
So people may sometimes think, that little $25.
I know. What is it going
What
to
is the
do?
yes? What is it going to do? But
Mhm.
really and truly, every bit
Of
of
course.
support helps.
Of course. And the other thing is that, I mean, I've worked very closely with the Dominica Cancer Society over the years. And I can tell you that the board of directors are often very disappointed and sometimes even angry when a person would have gotten a diagnosis of cancer and suffered in silence and never said anything. So they never embarked on no form of treatment and they just felt, I don't want anybody to know my business. And the Cancer Society is always willing to assist people with funding. So they may not be able to take care of all of your bills, but at least they will make arrangements to assist you. And so don't sit down at home with a diagnosis like cancer and and just give up and say, well, you have no money and who is going to help you. The Dominica Cancer Society is there. They are located on Murphy's Lane in Goodwill and just behind Lindomat. And they are always willing to support, not just financially, but also psychosocial. We do have a group both for men and women whereby we go to support people who are doing chemotherapy You might not be feeling well. There is somebody that will be able to assist you. Nurse Daisy, Vina Rui, and a lot of the other people, they go out there and they network with the healthcare providers on behalf of the patient. Things that the patient may not understand, they will break it down and so forth. So it's a well organized society, and we really want you to support the Dominica Cancer Society. So, Trudy, we have an open show this morning, and I love open shows because, as I said, it gives our audience the opportunity to speak on topics or areas that they may not have had the opportunity to speak on, because we've had some back to back shows that were already programmed. So today is an opportunity to have your open say, whether you want to talk about garbage, whether you want to talk about the tariff, whether you want to talk about leptospirosis, whether you want to talk about whatever it is. We give you the opportunity. Once it's health and wellness, we give you the opportunity to talk.
Yes.
And I recognize we have a caller.
We already have a
So
caller.
let's see what this person has to say. Good morning to you, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Carlton and Judy. How's everybody?
We are doing good. I know this voice. Good morning to you, sir. How are you today?
Good morning.
God bless. God bless. Trying my best. Trying my best.
Yes, sir.
I come every day to your mega store, praying and hoping, keeping my fingers crossed. I go through the aisles, and when I get to my favorite aisle, where the cashews are, the 33-ounce jars of cashews, I notice you're shy to bring in the unsalted one.
We have had that. I will take that note right now, because we've had that one. And believe it or not, caller, this is the one that I personally choose it as well too. I choose. And so I am with you 150%. No sugar, no salt. The raw one.
I was wondering why you have with sea salt and lightly salted. And I was saying maybe you want to give us a slight high blood pressure so your blood pressure medications can be on sale.
As soon as I finish, I will
so
take that to purchasing right away.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, sir. I appreciate that, because I too have been looking for it too. The raw one. So I like that. I will make that my personal crusade to ensure. If you want, you can even leave your number if pen. I can call you to let you know when we get it.
Yeah, 235-2842.
235?
2842.
Okay, I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call today. Okay?
Have a blessed
Thank
day,
you, sir.
you.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care, man.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes, Trudy, the calls are
Yes.
coming. Yes.
We have another caller. Yes.
Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Mr. Carlton.
Good morning to you, sir. And how are you doing today?
I'm good. And Miss Julie.
Trudy, good morning.
Judy. You know, you had a dynamic lady some time back, a nurse. I think her name something like Miss Chokat or something like that. A nurse. Carlton was not there.
Okay.
She was doing home care, like she going at
Nurse Denise Edwards.
Yes. Nurse Edwards.
She's dealing with the elderly people.
Yes.
Julie, you know this lady, so I think that may be one of the best superhero ever you speak on this show. You know, she was so creative and dynamic. She was speaking like a lecturer in a university.
Yes, she has done a lot of that, because she has taught nursing in school for many years.
Yes, man. She was just an industrial lady. She was just creating, and she tell you she had a team working. She could send people out to take care of the needed. And that's a powerful, you know. And when I listen to that lady, I see a university out of your show, Carlton show. It's not about bragging, you know. I love history, I love innovation, and she was powerful. And I believe some of these brains, we have to keep them going on to educate us, just as Carlton. You know, there is a man in Burkina Faso, a dynamic leader, and he look almost like Carlton, you know, just a little taller and a little darker. Ibrahim Traoré. If you look up on Burkina Faso, the leader, you know, he come from the military, and he creating a lot of things. Just as Carlton, he doing a medicine, building a medicine factory. I think he building a new hospital. I think he taking the prisoners and he planting whole wheats and those things, training them how to operate machines. But Carlton, I'm a member of the Cancer Association, Miss Alexander.
Oh, nice.
And I really want to tell that lady, do not jump off. She have to be at the leader, at the leadership. And the team of people she have working with her, retired doctors, retired permanent secretary. I heard one voice, Mr. Gregoire, I know him very well. She have a dynamic group of people. But what I would like you, Mr. Carlton, to stay on board with her, because you are like the pilot. I would like you to stay on board with her and lead her, because you see that cancer issue we have in Dominica, we're taking it as a joke, but it's a serious problem on our health. And I think what's supposed to happen, she's supposed to take a solid ground and build in a hospital, and I know she will get help. I know she wouldn't have to spend $1. From the architect work, she can get a man to just give a sketch of the architect work and you will get sponsored. I know right here, Dominica, you'll get sponsored.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your work. All right?
Yes.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you again.
Have a good day.
You too.
And I
You
can
too.
tell you, let me just tell you one thing before I go. In 1979, Marigot people started building the hospital, and it's complete by self-help before they break down and build the new ones.
All right.
And,
Thank you.
And the land is right next to the psychiatric. If you notice when they're coming up from the back road, that piece of land that their government have there, you can apply for it. And somebody like Mackenzie can do a sketch for your architect. Have a good morning.
Thank you, caller. We have
Yes, I see we have callers.
People look like they really wanted the open line. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good morning to my favorite.
Good morning to you, my friend.
Carlton.
Yes, ma'am.
What's happening now is leptopyrosis. I don't to dwell on that one.
Okay.
Because right now a lot of garbage all around. And rat now is manicle, the big like the manicle running up and down. So it always have leptopyrosis. I don't to dwell on that one. Judy, welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, Carlton. So concerns about leptospirosis. Of course, the Ministry of Health has announced or has revealed in their recent press conference that we've had one death from leptospirosis, 10 suspected cases, and leptospirosis, people do know, is passed on from the excrement of rodents. So the urine of the rodent that may enter the human body through consumption. Also, people who are in soil or who work in soil, people who farm, there is also risk there because the urine of the rodent may be in the soil, and the bacteria that causes the leptospirosis can pass to the human being from that soil contact. So a lot of things and water, yes, contaminated water as well. So a lot of things to keep in mind. I know the garbage collection issue is a big factor, and we need to be very aware of the risks associated with increased rodent population that we may be experiencing.
And the thing about it is that the preliminary symptoms are so similar to that of the flu.
The flu, yes,
right?
yes.
And so oftentimes people may get the symptom and assume that it's the flu that they have and may not embark on further assessment. When you do recognize that you might be deteriorating a bit more, when you do go to have a checkup, it might be a situation where you actually end up having, where the organs are failing already, your kidneys are failing. And so it is really a blood infection that is caused by bacterium and can be very, very dangerous. It can actually take your life. I lost a friend of mine maybe 2 weeks ago from that, and I was totally shocked because it's somebody that I had seen just maybe the week before, and we had spoken extremely well. And then I just see this picture floating around, and I just was in total disbelief. So it happens. What is important is what can we do as a population? The information is out there. A lot of people believe it or not, still drink from the source. And we're saying to you right now, may not be a good practice to be drinking straight from those source. You might say, but the water is flowing consistently, but you never know what batch you might get. You never know the batch that you might catch in the cup, you might collect in that bottle, might just be the batch that the rodent just pee in. You just never know. So you really want to avoid that. You want to ensure that if you're a farmer, you use gloves, you use your boots as well. You want to make sure that you boil your water. Up to 100 degrees Celsius. And generally, when the water begins to boil, you have to leave it for another 5 minutes to boil over. So you boil your water. If you use rainwater, if you use source water, if you use any type of water that is running, you want to do that. You might be in the river and you might be tempting to take to gorge of river water because you might be saying you're in the real pure organic water. You want to be cautious as well. And of course, garbage disposal is a big thing. I would assume with the outbreak now, I don't want to say if it's an outbreak kind of, well, with the cases now that has been documented, that the Ministry of Health have been in communication with the Ministry of Environment, and they're doing everything in their power to extradite and to improve on the garbage collection. But it's also our responsibility to know how we assemble and dispose our garbage. I know we've been told many, many times that our garbage is supposed to be almost specializedly placed in different bins. So those that are biodegradable, that you can actually, like your food peelings, your banana peel, your whatever it is, all of those, they can actually be placed in the soil, biodegradable, and break back into manure. And your bottles are placed in one way. The plastic bottles can now be collected for recycling. And then those others, like if you have used canned foods, you're supposed to rinse them. And by rinsing them, it might be good to rinse them with some soap, residue, soap, liquid soap, or to rinse them with hot water. If you have the hot water option in your sink, you can use that as well to rinse the corned beef can or the Vienna sausage can and so forth.
Or not consume directly from a can. So for instance, your canned drinks, or even your bottled drinks, don't put that container directly to your mouth.
That's true.
That is one way that this bacterium can be transmitted if the rodent has peed on the cans, and then you come and you put it in your mouth. So I have known that this has been a route of transmission for a previous case of leptospirosis long ago. So warehouses sometimes have rodents, and where those food stuff are stored, those warehouses may be susceptible to the contamination by the rodent. So never, and even without the leptospirosis threat, just put in your mouth to cans and not knowing where this has come from is just a bad practice.
It is very true. It is very true. We have a caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling. A pleasant good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Hello, morning, Carlton.
Good morning to you, old friend. Good morning. How are you?
Morning.
Awesome.
I know it's an open line.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'd like to make another request. I'd made that sometime. That you see that bullying thing. We need to get somebody again. I mean, we had them, just to bring back that person to talk about bullying.
Yes.
Because Carlton, you see how far that's going.
Yes. We will definitely get a psychologist or counselor.
It's not a subject that's exhausted because things, look at where we reach now. Student in front of the court, you understand?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I will definitely work on that. I will get a therapist, somebody that's specialized to deal with that area. Yes, we have another caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Kelsey. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Good morning to you too.
Good morning to Trudy.
Hi, good morning.
All right. I want to continue from where you left off when you mentioned the whatever, whether it's the cans or
The
whatever
cans.
that you're drinking from directly. That goes a little further, or we should go a little further. All canned food that you pick up on the shelves from the supermarket, you wash it before you put it in your pantry or whatever. Because even in that wholesale, you have no idea. Because remember, these wholesales are in areas where you have all these little ventilated holes where the rodents and rats just go through, and they are dark areas, dark, warm areas. They will find homes in those storage areas. So to take, whether it's corned beef, sardine, whatever it is, just take the added precaution of washing it when you bring it at your house before you put it in your pantry, and maybe even washing it before you take that can open and open it. That extra precaution, I think, can go a very long way. Just wanted to integrate that.
Very good point. Very good point. Yes, yes.
Yes, thank you
Washing
for
them
that.
before assembling them or packing them in your pantry. That is really so important. Really, really important. And so we just want us to be cautious. You keep your yard clean. You don't want to have big trees and a lot of grass in your yard where rodents can actually be using as homes, and the derelict vehicles and all of that. I think now is the time that we should be paying attention to that. Even in my area, where I live in Castaways, was it last year? We just got up and saw a jeep in our area, the road leading to my home, and then 2 days after, we just saw the jeep stripped out, and the residue or the remains is just there. We don't know who brought the jeep. We don't know what's the registration number. They just brought it there, stripped it, and just
left it there.
And we're seeing things that are happening in Dominica, and these are just bad practices. And I think we really need to get better with that. Even places, communities where mechanic shops are just built.
Not even built. Some of them are just roadside. People just start a mechanic operation on the side of the road.
Yep.
This is, my area is one like at the base of the Castle Comfort Junction. Yeah, there's a enterprise going on there, and the vehicles are just there.
Yep, and you see countless, even people in refrigeration and air conditioning too. You may have somebody who have that business. We're not trying to close your business, but if you have these types of business where you have a lot of these machinery just laying there and they're not in use, and it's quite obvious rodents will make homes out of them. And so this is some of the areas that we need to really be talking about, the white goods that are laid all over the place, and almost indiscriminately they just there. Let's take this caller.
Yes, we have a few callers. Let's take one.
Yes. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lando.
Good morning to you, madam. Good morning.
Your companion. Mr. Lando, of things that people do not aware of in Dominica. We used to have a dog at home. Okay? We had a dog in the backyard with David and there's a little bar, so we kept him in the backyard. And we had another poodle at the front. A rat passed from the other neighbor place. They don't clean anything. The rat came up from there. I don't know, it's probably the rat. The rat came down and maybe come in the yard. Came up from there, I see my dog there. Big giant dog, I tell you, and that domination. And that dog there, we sit like a madman inside the backyard. And I'm looking to see what is happening to the dog. And I say, but that's not Smokey. And we there watching and watching. I was there watching the window. The dog was, when I go in to give the dog, I said, maybe something happened to the dog, I give him some milk from afar, I give him to put some milk. The dog did not want to eat it. The dog raging, I said, eat it. And then all of a sudden, there was a bucket of water. The dog drank the whole big bucket of water. And the dog started to rage. And I in a little window, they're watching it. And then the dog just plunged itself into the little gutter we had been water on the other side. And the dog died. Find out that it was what is the name I pronounce?
Leptospirosis.
Yes. People taking dogs and always have dogs at their home. And some of the dogs are stray, not dogs that they don't bathe their dog. And I am aware where I'm living there. Dogs are stray. People have dogs like their children like dogs and they adopted dogs. But there's dogs running all in the bush by me, they're being grabbed. Anything they be running and they eating everything or because sometimes when food that is prepared for them, yes, that is what it is. And all, no matter what you want people, they don't hear. But I always say when people don't want to hear, they'll feel it. So you have to understand the dog cells can come in your place and even cause you problem in your place unless you have your dog tied and feeding your dog and always examine your dog.
Very true. Very true. Because I remember my vet saying to me that it's better to feed the dog in the day, and when the dog has eaten, you turn over its bowl and you clean the area because rats can come and feast on the residue and even pee and can kill your dog. Your dog can actually get leptospirosis that way. So if you're a dog owner, that is a tip that you can actually practice whilst you at home with your dog. We are going to take a short break and then we'll be right back.
Started feeling risky. I had the intentions of calling sing, but I end up in Jolly's pharmacy. And don't you just treat Jolly's fix up my immune system. Got me feeling fit and strong. Now I'm ready to work on any mission. If you see me again, Jolly's pharmacy is number one. Jolly's for you. We cater for everyone. Jolly's for you. Boost up the immune system. Jolly's for you. Yo, Dominic, it's your boy Waterbox. Whenever I'm in town and I'm feeling down, I head to Johnny's Pharmacy. They boost me up real quick. Johnny's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Would you be missing the party this weekend because of that nagging cold and cough? Boost your body's immunity now by taking Feral Compound, a combination of vitamins and minerals to fight off coughs and cold, so you can be the life of the party again. Don't be restricted by those nagging coughs and cold. Take Feral today and enjoy the little joys of life. Feral Compound is for adults and children 14 years and older. Available at Jolly's Pharmacy and all our locations island-wide.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Langdo with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan-Defoe and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare. Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Langdo with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan-Defoe and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Yes, so we're back with you. I recognize somebody has made a very important point there. They're saying provisions ground provisions from the market must be washed outside before entering the house. And that's a very interesting point. Maybe washed and peeled too, particularly if it's dashing and the tanias and so are peeled and washed again and then put in plastic bags and put in the freezer. Maybe that might be a good thing to do. So I think people are now cognizant of the fact that there are a few cases of leptospirosis and information has been out. Out. I think many people have been reading about the disease on social media and even Googling it. And so we want to encourage you to inform yourself, educate yourself on this current situation. But we are switching gears a bit and we are talking a little on economics. I'm not an economist. I didn't do any business subject as such, but the little that I know and I'm trying to understand the tariffs and what its implications for us, yes, particularly regarding our local market. from a pharmacological or pharmaceutical standpoint, it means that we are expecting to see a spike in some of our prices, medications. And you would recognize that it's something we have no control over. We do not make medications in Dominica. All our medications are imported. We get medications from Canada, from Europe, from France, meaning France, Turkey, Germany. We get medications from England. We get medications from America. And we get medications from India. Now, these medications are made with raw materials. Some of these countries and pharmaceutical companies that make these drugs, they have to source the raw materials from some of these places where the tariffs have been increased and increased significantly. So that means we will see a spike in some of the cost of our medications. And that would mean that it might mean some problems with adherence. Will people be able to afford some of these medications? How problematic may it become for the prescribers? Because it's one thing to know, well, this medication is the preferred choice for this ailment or a medical condition.
But what is
But
the
can
cost?
the person afford it?
Yes, what's the cost?
What's the cost?
Carlton, I already see, and of course, as we know, when big countries, or what they say, the elephants
Yes.
walk, everybody feels the impact.
Yes,
So
yes.
this trade war that is going on will definitely have impacts on us. What we can hope and pray for is for some sense to prevail, and for somebody to back down. I don't know who to back down in this ongoing war, but there will be implications for us. People talk a lot about implications for other consumer goods, but you're bringing up something so important as it relates to the pharmaceuticals, which for many they are necessary for life, for the sustenance of life. And so imagine people thinking about other consumer goods like the cost of clothing items. Like I've seen a lot of reference to what about those Shein clothes that you all like to buy? What will be the price like now? Can you afford them? But what about the pharmaceuticals that many people, as I said, require for sustenance of life? And we have to take a very deep look at this, and I think even prepare ourselves in the health sector for the possible impacts. Carlton, you mentioned the prescribers and having to consider the cost before prescribing, or the affordability of the drug or the preferred treatment before prescribing. But what about the not the customer, but the patients thinking of their health financing as well? That brings up the whole issue that we've discussed multiple times about what is your plan for your health financing. If insurance, is that something that you are subscribing to, health insurance? Are you saving specifically for health? What is your individual or family plan for health expenses that may be rising? So that is, all these things people have to think about in this ongoing trade war that we see happening in the global world.
But then again, to Trudy, that's a very important point. But then the typical consumer may also see, what am I going to save?
Right.
Because if I have an average job that pays me $1,400 a month, gross, that is, and then taxes are whatever it is are deducted from that Social Security, whatever is deducted, I have to pay my rent $600. Let's say a minimum of $600 for rent. Then I have internet for home, because I have 2 children. They need internet at school. They're doing schoolwork. They need internet. We need internet. I have a television. I have to pay utility bills. How am I going to pay for that health insurance policy that I so truly want? I desire it, but can I pay it?
Can you pay
and I
it?
cannot even get a second job because the first job that I have is 8 to 4. Then I have the children, and the availability of a second job is almost non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's then we have to talk about the minimum wage. And then the government will say, can they increase a minimum wage at this time? So it's a lot of layers to the discussion.
Of course.
Because I'm thinking of the same cancer drugs for chemotherapy. Where are they made? You know, where are the active ingredients? Where do they come from to make these drugs? The IV drugs that are used for chemotherapy. How are our people going to afford these drugs? The antibiotics that are intravenously used, right? Many of the antibiotics for somebody in ICU who is in a coma, who cannot take a pill, and they have to use intravenous IV and so forth, or life-threatening, life-saving medications. What happens to these people when they cannot afford? So it's a big debate, and I think that is why our Caribbean governments, I heard Mia Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, and CARICOM chair now, talking about it, making a plea almost to the US president to look at all of the layers of this increase, because even the Caribbean islands now are imposed, a 10% is imposed on them. And so
yes,
it's
Carlton.
something else.
Yes, Carlton. That's why I said, we would hope that common sense would prevail, and you don't know from who you're hoping that from, because now there are multiple players in the war, in the trade war. But we really, really, really hope that there's some ease, because the implications are very astronomical. I see people have been trying to call. Let's take a few calls. People want to contribute here.
Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Hey, sorry to call you back again, Carlton, but I want to give my opinion. Since as Trump and them put in all those high tally on importing and export, don't you think, Carlton, we have the reserve here that we can start our own natural medicine? Because Julie had this on board, and she was saying that she have to go on Amazon to import some of the natural medicine. Some of the patient want. Let's say that person have bed sores, but she want to use bitter melon powder. She want to use garlic oil for healing the womb, for skin problems. We have all these local people that do manufacturing, and they use natural things, and it works. Even some of the top people in the system now, they rather to use the natural things. Let's say for prostate, you have these herbs like bitter melon. Don't you think sometimes even we ourselves, like the own companies, could start to create things like lemongrass oil is good for cancer, people that have skin cancer. Some of those things, peppermint oils, we can have it here, because I think Sherry Winston was making peppermint oil in Bellevue naturally. She had a distillery, a small one. So don't you think we have to come on board and more work with the Caribbean together? Because we are around 40 million people, we have oil, we have the human resources. Because if you listen, this week, I think the former governor of Eastern Caribbean Bank, Mr. Dwight Venner, he said we have to put ourselves more together.
Mr. Dwight Venner?
So that's one of the things we're supposed to look to do, Carlton. Because these people are going to change, These men are madmen, Have a good morning.
All right, good morning.
Chum, have a good morning. These people are going to change. These people are racial people. Have a good day.
Good morning. Just a correction, Mr. Venner, Dwight Venner has passed on. And so I suspect maybe, I don't know if it's Mr. Antoine you wanted to speak to about who is the current governor of the central bank. But Mr. Venner has passed on. But the tariff is really, for me, particularly dealing with sales at Jolly's, it is of great concern to me. Looking at the ships that, for example, I'm trying to remember that ship name. The agents used to be ACS. I'm trying to remember its name, but that ship actually comes from China. And if the US has, for ports to embark or to get into the US territory and the amount of money they have to pay, so you can imagine what is going to happen. And so King Ocean, that's the name of the ship I was trying to remember. And that ship brings a lot of our goods to Dominica. we ourselves at Jolly's, we have a lot of stuff coming on King Ocean. And so it says to that all of us who trade, all of us who buys from outside, I mean, we are going to feel it. The consumers, every consumer is going to feel that pinch. Let's take a call. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Carlton, me again. And as we're looking at that, that's going to affect everybody, Carlton.
Of course.
I was thinking, for example, okay, the drugs going to go up, right? Now, as even Dr. Fountain was talking that, the salary is not enough to pay what we have to pay. And then to put that increase on that again, Carlton, you know what it is already. Already the salary is small. Then you put that when the goods going to go up. And Carlton, another thing, that going to stretch and affect our mental health, Carlton.
Of course.
Some people that can't, when they get up in the morning, they cannot do, buy or whatever. You're going to end up in the mental hospital, Carlton. Some people, and then that's an extra burden again on the health system, So, Carlton, you realize what that is? Everybody going to be affected, Carlton, this morning.
Yes. And again, so we may see an increase in crimes and delinquency, because if people are not working and the cost of living is extremely high or has gotten higher, then criminologists generally project and sociologists generally project that we will see an increase in crime and delinquency. Because if I have a family at home and they're not fed, I don't have, I will find a way, whether it's legally or illegally, to find food for them. And so we will see, more than likely, with this, if this continues, we will see maybe a spike in crime related matters. I just saw a news item saying a woman was how you call it, at gunpoint last night, and she lost $250 plus a cell phone, because somebody ambushed her. So we have to be cautious. Let's take this caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good morning, Carlton.
Good morning to you, my brother.
Again. You heard what the senior just explained to the repercussions. It's actually going that far and even further. And people really and truly, what I realized, I don't know if you saw many products like that. I saw the signs of things to come quite a while, but somewhere around September, October last year, I'm talking to people close to me, I'm talking to people around me, and it's almost like I talking and it's falling on deaf ears, and talking about planting stuff, doing stuff, and buy less stuff from the supermarket, starting to make your adjustments now. And most of the people I'm talking to, I see them on the same trajectory, and every time they go to the supermarket, boy, last week the price was that way, they come here for that, and look at that now, 13 something, but they still do it. It's just like this thing I just said, the salary going up. Now next week, now I tell them, don't complain because next week is going to be worse. Don't complain because the week after is going to be worse. And it's getting worse and worse. And if there's a word worse, sir, and they're still not making the adjustment. Some people have the land, some people have ways and means of planting stuff, and they are not planting stuff. My brother, this thing is going to be catastrophic. And anybody that's not listening, they go more than here. My God used to say, who doesn't hear is feel. And let me tell you, we seem to be a peculiar type of people in a very strange way. I really don't understand my people. Let me go to another thing. Earlier on, you mentioned something about garbage disposal and the separation of garbage. That separation of garbage with all the biodegradable and the plastics and the bottles, is this thing something that is actually in progress? Because let me tell you, I live in Roseau, and there is no truck or different truck passing for my bottle, my plastic, or anything else. Because I do a little of agriculture and a little planting of stuff that I like, and I know, well, in the market you get it in season. Well, there are a lot of things that you can plant and get it also seasonal. So I'm doing stuff like that. So I normally try to keep my kitchen waste to throw it back into the soil. So I maybe have a few big water bottles out, just chuck them, put that on the veranda, right on the veranda there in Roseau, and when you put it in, take it to the soil and mix it up, cut it up, do whatever. And you can make your own soil, your own soil, fortify it, everything that it doesn't have to go by all these fertilizers. Because all these different peelings and the different bush, even you pass around, are you doing that? If the energy people, they weed under the cliff, after they weed and they pile it up a day or two after the sun, I come and take a portion of that and mix that with my soil. Because these are things we can do. In all this stuff that they cut in there, there are nutrients for the soil and the plants will be happy and you'll be eating good food. My people are happy, they're in a comfort zone. That comfort zone is a demonic comfort zone. It's a demonic system that runs in this place and it's not going to stop. It's not going to do anything in your favor. You need to stand for yourself. Nobody's going to come to rescue Dominica unless we rescue it. Have a good day, my brother and sister.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, caller. Yeah, so he's bringing up, composting essentially, and that I think, Carlton, you're referring to with the biodegradable waste separation, because you can do some reutilization of biodegradable waste. You can do some composting. You can do some use in agriculture with the waste. Yes.
Because even for me, like when I look, when I go to shop and I look at the shelves, in a sense, I pinch myself and I say I'm happy that the tin stuffs are very expensive, because it's really not healthy foods, most of them. And so when we see these prices, it's a way to tell us don't eat them. Don't
to
eat
dissuade
them.
you.
Yes. So when I see now a price of a large corned beef is $11-12,
yes,
and one Vienna
dissuades
sausage
you.
is five something. One sardine is is so high. It tells you you can live without that. You don't really need that, and that's what I do.
So yeah. So and I mean, following through with the economic discussion, Carlton, that you began a bit earlier. So some adaptations, and also the caller just mentioned it, you have to make certain adaptations. So you did mention, Carlton, people might look at what they earn and all their obligations and so on and say, but how am I going to save? But what might have to happen, or not what might have to happen, what has to happen is you have to change lifestyle, and that is what is very difficult. Honestly, it's difficult. But like the caller just said, you will have to change, what it is that you're accustomed of doing or buying or subscribing to. That will have to change, because it's either you do that or you don't survive. So survival is what you have to aim for, obviously. So I know that is difficult, because like you just said, Carlton, looking at food stuff, for example, and saying, boy, I cannot, the price on that is so high. What am I going to do? Well, you might have to change what it is that you are accustomed of getting. Yeah.
But one of the things too that I will mention as we're talking about consumerization is even for me, when I go to do grocery shopping, I go to so many different supermarkets for different items, and some of the supermarkets that were branded as formerly with supermarkets, I'm telling you, they are becoming the big supermarkets. With big crowd now. That Mr. So and so that you'd never see there before. They're in the line there too.
Yes.
Because everybody's trying to recognize
to
that,
save, and to change habits.
Yes.
Yeah, change habits.
And I'm seeing that. I go through a few of them in Roseau, and there's two particular ones, and I'm seeing the line. Some of them, some of them, they even have to get turns to go inside, because the place is so filled up. You have to get turns.
And that has definite implications now, because if people have to make certain sacrifices, which they have to, then what is it for luxury items or luxury things you can see that those things will become obsolete, maybe.
Yes.
Because if you have to prioritize in terms of things for you to survive, the luxury things will become impossible. So I see we have a caller.
Yes. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, that's me again. Should you have mentioned in the lifestyle change is difficult. But we have to understand too, why it's difficult, it's more beneficial and healthier. Because imagine what you're eating is what getting you sick. You can imagine you make that lifestyle change with the stuff that you grow. Then you can eliminate all these non-communicable diseases and be less on. These medications that you're taking, they don't cure you, they just treat you till you die. So why can't you? That thing that you put in there for that bad diet, now you're not eating these things from the shelf now. You're going to get tested somewhere down the line, 6 months, 8 months, and realizing, hey, I don't have the blood sugar issue, no, I don't have the blood pressure issue. That's because of what you were eating.
Yes.
Now you cannot afford it to make that change because honestly, it is beneficial in a healthy way and it goes a long way where you would not be getting as sick if you start to make that transition in your life. It might sound hard, but it's going to come. As a matter of fact, you don't want to do it. At one time, you're going to be forced to do it. And even when they are forced to do it, when they decide they have no skills, they have no ways and means of doing it, it's going to impact them in a negative. Like Carlton said earlier, that might be some kind of crime. There's a man that will say, me, I go after and stuff, and nothing. So it's easier for him to maybe go and rob somebody or rob somewhere. So you're going to get many things spinning off of that. Many variables going to spin off of that one event. And people are not, I don't know about people now, my Dominican people are just not taking heed. Anyway, have a good one. I'm still all there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that is, I'm really thinking about this. This tariff has had me going for the past 2 weeks. I'm telling you, like, I'm really, thinking of it seriously. I mean, I have a family. I have a mortgage. You have things around you, and you recognizing how does this impact your own economics at your home? How does it impact? And so I think every one of us should become a bit more conscientious about it as it unfolds, because it takes effect today. I think, today it took effect today from this morning.
And Carlton, I also want to encourage, whilst we're having that conversation, I always like to to speak to not being all doom and gloomy about certain things. As you said, things have to change. You have to become more conscientious. Yes, you have to know what's going on and adapt accordingly. But also, taking care of your mental health is important. That's too. True. So if you know the things that are happening in the world are causing you so much stress and concern that your mental health is impacted, you really have to also be very careful with that. You have to say to yourself that there will be a way to survive, to manage. You just have to be on top of it and aware, and you will survive. I don't like people to get too, flustered, anxious and stressed in light of these challenges that we're facing.
Yes. So we're winding down. It is now just about 11:23, 11:20.
Yes.
Yeah, they're about. I don't know if you want to make a comment on that as we go along. So. Our prices, at Jolly's, we really try to keep our prices as low and affordable as possible. We really try to do that. So sometimes our purchasing departments, they go all out to see which pharmaceutical company has the best price that is suitable for our markets. My sinuses. That is suitable for our markets. And it's a lot of work to navigate through all the different, offers that you get from all the different countries to really make sure that the drug that we bring in, it is of the international World Health Organization standards and the FDA standards, and at the same time too, it is affordable. But as I said, what the areas that concerns me most particularly are the IV medications, the cancer medications, both the oral and intravenous medicines. These types of drugs that are used for life-saving conditions, the intravenous antibiotics, which can really be oftentimes
Very
extremely
expensive.
important.
Mhm.
These medicines they can be of great concern,
Mhm.
and so we just pray into God that this situation doesn't impact us so severely that we have problems. We have problems, and we know that it's a challenge even for our own um, health facilities to operate every day. We often, make noise about lack thereof of certain equipments and options of medicines that should be quote unquote available and are not. And so with that in mind, it's also brings to the table how much more is it going to impact our general health and wellness here in Dominica.
Mhm.
So I think what is important is for us to really take better care of ourselves. Now is the time, if you've been drinking, relentlessly, like there is no tomorrow,
Now
to
is the
cut
time to
down. Yeah, to
stop.
start. You have to start telling yourself, boy, you know what? I really need to quench. I need to stop. I need to reduce. If you've been spending a lot of money on cigarettes and marijuana and whatever, and you feel like you cannot do without it, yes, it's not adding no health benefit to you and it's just taken away from your pocket. Now is a good time to look at the world and look at the economics of the world and recognize, you know what, I need to become more responsible,
Mhm.
and I need to make responsible decisions and become a bit more accountable to my actions. So I really do hope that, yes, it is a big, big, big conversation, but within our own self, from an individual standpoint, how can we save money? What are some of the habits that we can cut off
Mhm.
to be able to save, that $2, that extra $5
Right.
that we would have used for something else? Maybe it's
And
good
that's
time to carpool from time to time. Maybe I may have to do that too from time to time. Um, go along with my wife, and from time to time my wife go along with me, because we each have our vehicles. But these are things that we have to look at into to save cost of gas and all the other things.
Of course, and that is, you see, when I spoke earlier about lifestyle changes, it wasn't just to do with eating. There are things in our lifestyle not related to eating that we can also, look at and cut off. Even sometimes and I mentioned the luxury spending as well. You sometimes, and people do that a lot, say, I feel like, I need to shop this, or I need to do that. Sometimes things you don't even need, or I need to go to this place, or I need to, be fancy, I need to do this hairstyle. And sometimes it's something that you don't need, but it's luxury. Yes, it gives you comfort, but in times where you're trying to be more thrifty, some things like that have to be cut off. Carlton, like you said, you might like the comfort of driving yourself, and having your own schedule, but you might carpool to save some money. Yeah, so those are the sort of things too when we talk lifestyle that we have to think of. Some of our habits, and if we look at them closely, it's very interesting sometimes to do an audit of your own lifestyle and
I
your
know.
spending. Yeah, it's very interesting because sometimes you can see some areas of waste you never even figured out were waste. But when you look at them, you say, "Oh, that's where the money was going to." Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
The eating out.
the eating out, yes.
You have the groceries in your cupboard, but you
Yeah.
find it's lazy for you to get up to make a lunch to take to work, and so you prefer go, and then you get a lunch bill, and it's $27.50. It's $30, and then you say, "Oh, it's Thursday," but then Friday is my day when I don't cook. So then you have another $30 or $27 to spend on Friday,
Right.
and then Saturday comes and you check in my boy that whoever has a nice broth and you feel for that broth. And then when you're done calculate everything, you have spent $100 in the past.
Right.
You know?
And Carlton, and we don't want to cut down people's business
No, no,
because
no.
people will then say, "Oh, you're trying to cut down people's business." But I can think of something very simple in my own personal experience. Sometimes I am a person that drives, and I might just say, "I feel like getting this, but I don't want to go for it. So let me do delivery. Let me take the delivery option." So instead of either not getting that thing or instead of actually going for it myself, I'm paying a fee. You know what I mean? So as I said, I don't want to cut down on business, but some of those things you have to think about sometimes. Like, did I really need to do a delivery, or could I have just forgotten about that for the moment? You know what I mean? So it's challenging. And I can see how business people as well will be challenged to keep up
Yes,
their business.
that's true.
Yes.
That's true.
When we talk about cutting back, we're talking about affecting business.
All right, so we are just about out of time, and it was such a pleasure really bringing to you this open line, because it's not often we get a chance to maybe have an open line. So we are happy that we could have given you the option, given you the opportunity to express yourself today on the various topics that we highlighted today on Health Vibes. Again, don't forget the pet sale that's happening on pet foods that's happening this Friday at all locations of Jolly's Pharmacy on different cats and dog foods. You can get up to 30% discount on these items. And do not forget to register for the National 5K Wellness Run that is happening on the 26th of March. We are running for cancer, and every dollar counts. The minimum requirement, if you are participating, is $25. That will go to whichever cancer that you are running against. And again, as always, Trudy and I, we want to say to you, have an awesome remainder of the week.
Yes.
Have a great day. And as always, your health is indeed your greatest resource. Preserve it. Have a good morning, everybody, and continue to take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right. Say health cannot have vibes. Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every